All right, so have you ever wondered how some people can just eat whatever they want and not gain weight?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
We see it all the time.
Right.
Especially online with these YouTubers and influencers.
Oh, for sure.
So today we are going to be diving into a YouTube video called How I Eat Everything I Want and It Don't Gain Weight. Part 2, more tips, bloating, etc.
Okay.
It's from a YouTuber called Simone Squared.
All right.
And she makes some pretty bold claims.
I bet.
But we're going to break it all down.
Okay.
We're going to see what the science says.
Sounds good.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
we're going to help you figure out
Right.
what might actually work for your body.
Love it.
Now we'll be focusing on 2 key things Simone Squared talks about.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting and those ab workouts she swears by.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
it's easy to look at someone like Simone Squared and think, oh, they just have a perfect metabolism.
Right.
But it's interesting because Simone Squared actually talks about struggling with bloating and body image in the past.
Oh, really?
She didn't always have this physique.
Interesting.
She even mentions working out heaps in high school, but still feeling constantly bloated.
Wow.
It's not like she was just born with a six-pack or anything.
Right, exactly. And that actually highlights a really important point.
What that?
While genetics and metabolism do play a role, they're not the whole story.
Okay.
You can't chalk everything up to a fast or slow metabolism. There's so much more going on.
Totally. And in Simone Squared's case, she specifically mentions that her sleep schedule actually played a big role in how bloated she felt,
Oh, interesting.
which leads us to
Yeah.
intermittent fasting.
Okay.
She calls it her secret weapon
Mm-hmm.
for a flat stomach.
Interesting.
She basically says that she was unintentionally fasting because she slept so late
Mm-hmm.
and would skip breakfast most days.
Okay.
But then when she started getting up earlier for work,
Yep.
she noticed the bloating coming back.
Huh. So it sounds like sometimes the things we do without even realizing can have a huge impact.
Right.
Yeah. So let's break down what intermittent fasting is all about.
Okay.
First of all, it's not about starving yourself.
Right.
It's about having set periods where you eat
Okay.
and periods where you voluntarily fast.
Gotcha.
And there's actually a lot of research
Yeah.
showing that this can have benefits like weight loss,
Mm-hmm.
improved insulin sensitivity,
Which means,
which basically means your body handles sugar better,
okay.
and even reduced inflammation.
Wow, so it's not just some fad diet.
No, not at all.
There's real science behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But listening to your body is key.
Right, because what works for Simone Squared might not work for everyone.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
You have to find a sustainable fasting schedule
Right.
that fits your lifestyle and your body's needs.
Okay.
Crash dieting or extreme fasting often backfires in the long run.
Makes sense.
Yeah, consistency is what really matters.
So this is where things get really interesting when we look at Simone Squared's approach to ab workouts.
Okay.
She's got some pretty strong opinions about how to get that snatched waist.
Uh-huh.
And she actually calls out some popular workouts.
Does she?
She says she dislikes Chloe Ting's oblique exercises.
Interesting. What's her reasoning there?
Well, it seems like she has a very specific aesthetic goal in mind.
Okay.
She believes that overdeveloped obliques.
Right. Those muscles that run along the sides
Yeah, okay.
can create a more blocky look
Interesting.
rather than a smoothly curved waistline.
Okay, so she's going for a specific look.
Exactly. And it's not that Chloe Ting's workouts are bad.
Right.
They just might not align with everyone's aesthetic goals.
Yeah, that's an important point.
Right.
Chloe Ting's workouts, especially those targeting the obliques, can be really effective for building core strength,
Mm-hmm.
which is essential
Mhm.
for overall functional fitness
Right.
and preventing injuries.
Right.
But if you're going for a specific look,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to consider how different exercises will impact your muscle development.
Okay, I see what she's saying.
So at this point, I think some of you might be getting a little lost.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
We've got intermittent fasting,
Right.
specific ab exercises,
Yep.
and a whole lot of talk about body image.
It can be overwhelming.
So before we move on,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Good idea.
Because it's important to remember
Yeah.
that what works for one person,
Mm-hmm.
like Simone Squared,
Right.
might not work for everyone else.
Exactly. Her experience is just one example.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
So what are some key takeaways from what we've learned so far?
Good question. I think the big takeaway is there are no shortcuts.
Right.
No magic bullets.
Yeah.
It's about finding those habits that really work for you.
Right, and those might involve some experimenting.
It
right?
will be.
Like trying different types of intermittent fasting schedules.
Yeah.
Or finding ab exercises that target specific areas you want to work on.
Exactly. It's a journey by
Right.
the destination.
And speaking of ab exercises,
Yeah.
there's one in particular Simone Squared mentions
Oh, yeah.
that I think is worth highlighting.
Okay.
Walkouts.
Walking.
She's a huge fan
Mm-hmm.
of incorporating them into her routine
Cool.
and even demonstrates a modified version in her video.
Oh, nice.
I've seen those before.
Yeah.
They look pretty intense.
They can be.
What exactly are walkouts targeting?
So walkouts are really fantastic.
Yeah.
They're a compound exercise
Okay.
that engages multiple muscle groups. You're
Wait.
working your core,
Mm-hmm.
your shoulders, your triceps,
Wow.
even your back,
Okay.
all at the same time.
So why does Simone Squared think they're so great for the waist?
Well, what makes them especially interesting for someone like Simone Squared who's focused on a snatched waist
Right.
is how they engage the entire core,
Okay.
including those deep stabilizing muscles that you don't always hit with traditional ab exercises.
So it's like a moving plank.
You could say that.
Okay.
Imagine a steel rod
Yeah.
running through your midsection.
Okay.
That's the kind of strength and stability you're
Right.
building.
With walkouts.
Yeah.
So as you move from a standing position down into a plank and back up again,
Yep.
you're constantly engaging your core
You got it.
to keep your body stable.
Exactly. And that can lead to a more defined and toned look,
Mhm.
especially around the waist.
Okay. I'm starting to see why she loves these.
Right.
But you mentioned a modified version.
Yes,
Are regular walkouts really that challenging?
they can be,
Okay.
especially if you're new to the exercise.
Right.
But the great thing is
Yeah.
they can be modified to
Yes.
suit different fitness levels.
That's good.
Simone Squared actually demonstrates a version
Oh, cool.
where you walk out partway
Okay.
instead of going all the way into a plank,
Gotcha.
which is a great option for beginners.
That's awesome because I think a lot of people get intimidated by exercises that seem too advanced.
For sure.
So having those modifications can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And it brings us back to a key point.
With
Personalization.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
when it comes to fitness.
Exactly what works for Simone Squared or any other fitness influencer
Mm-hmm.
might not be the perfect fit for you.
It's like taking inspiration from a recipe,
Okay.
but adjusting the ingredients to your own taste.
I like that.
You know, you might swap out the spices,
Right.
add a little something extra,
Yeah,
or even completely change the protein.
you got it.
You have to find what works for you
Exactly.
and your body.
And I think that's where things get tricky sometimes.
So.
Well, there's just so much information out there.
Oh, yeah.
So many different approaches to fitness.
Right.
It can be hard to know where to start or who to trust.
Totally. And it's easy to get caught up comparing ourselves to others.
Oh, for sure. Especially with social media. We're constantly bombarded with these images of perfect bodies.
Yeah, it's important to remember that everyone's journey is different.
Absolutely. And those perfect bodies we see online,
Right.
they're often the result of filters posing.
Yeah.
Professional lighting.
And it's not just magic.
No, not at all.
So it's important to have a healthy dose of skepticism
Yes.
and to focus on what feels good for you,
Right.
both physically and mentally.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into Simone Squared's fitness claims,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say is the most important message for our listeners?
It's like finding that balance,
Yeah.
between taking inspiration from others,
Mm-hmm.
but also like forging your own path.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, Simone Squared's experience offers some insights,
Right.
but it's not a blueprint.
Exactly.
Just more like a starting point.
Yeah, you take those ideas and see what resonates with you.
Right, what fits your lifestyle, your
Mhm.
goals, and then you just start experimenting.
Precisely, you might find that intermittent fasting works wonders for you.
Right.
Or you might discover it's just not sustainable
Yeah.
with your schedule or your body.
And same with the exercises.
Totally.
You might love walkouts.
Yeah.
Or you might find other core exercises
Right.
that you enjoy more.
That give you the results you're looking for. Right?
Exactly. And that's where listening to your body comes in.
Absolutely.
It's paying attention to those signals,
Mhm.
figuring out what works, what doesn't.
And adjusting along the way.
Exactly. And it's a journey.
It is.
It's not a race.
Not at all.
There will be times when you feel like you're making progress
Mhm.
and times when you feel frustrated
Yeah.
or stuck.
You got it.
But just keep learning, keep
Mhm.
experimenting,
Yeah.
and keep showing up for yourself.
I love that. And don't forget to be kind to yourself along the way.
Oh, that's so important.
Yeah. I think we often forget that
Right.
when we're pursuing these fitness goals.
We get caught up in comparing ourselves to others Or feeling like we're not doing enough.
Yeah, what if instead of striving for some ideal version of ourselves,
Yeah.
we focused on appreciating our bodies for what they are
That's such a good point.
and all that they can do?
It's like shifting away from that constant self-critique
Yeah.
and cultivating this sense of gratitude
I love that.
for what our bodies allow us to do.
Our bodies are incredible. They're these amazing machines that let us move, dance,
experience the world.
you're with others.
And when we appreciate them from that perspective,
Yeah.
it opens up so many possibilities
I think so.
for health and well-being.
It's about celebrating what our bodies can do.
Yes.
Not just how they look.
So to wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between taking inspiration from others
Right.
and forging your own path.
Well said.
Simone Squared's experience is valuable,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the only way.
It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. And that might take some experimenting.
It might.
But listen to your body.
Yes.
Be kind to yourself.
Absolutely.
And never stop exploring.
I love that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And until next time, happy exploring.